set up a few badly, but more importantly, I've been working with a lot of universities and a lot of different organisations like Business Launchpad to help a number of different entrepreneurs develop their ideas and grow really compelling businesses. And that's something that I really geek out on, something that I really get a lot out of. Very quickly, as I said, a couple of new faces. I'd love for us all to stand up, including those from Business Launchpad, because what I think is a really good skill to start to nurture is just how you tell your story, how you communicate who you are really succinctly with clarity. And what we're going to do is just spend, each of us, 30 seconds telling everyone in the room who we are, what we do, and what we want to get out today. All right, so if everyone can stand up, please. Patience, anxiety. Guys, one thing I want to say, everyone in here, this is a really safe space, right? We're all in the same position. We all want to learn how best to communicate ourselves effectively. A lot of us want to understand how we can nail these pitches next week. So this is a really safe space. If you feel that you cannot communicate yourself clearly, that's fine. We're going to help you go through that process and become better, okay? So don't worry about how you come across. We're all going to be smashing it. So, Giovanni, do you want to start, or shall I start for you? I'll start very quickly. So my name's Carl. I help future founders like yourselves turn ideas into really cool businesses using a range of different techniques and also a range of different business workshops that help them understand how to start a business.
I'm Giovanni. I'm the program an engagement coordinator at Business Launchpad. I'm the one that makes sure that you guys are all here today.
Perfect. Thank you, Giovanni. How are we doing? Do you want to tell us who you are, please?
Vivian?
Yep. And what do you want to learn from today, Vivian?
No.
How to pitch?
How to
What do you want to get out of it? Space, what you want.
Perfect. You're doing really well. You're doing really well. Perfect. So how to pitch and how to get some website ideas. Perfect. Thank you. Let's give everyone a big round of applause. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
I'm here to kind of gain more clarity for and on behalf of Vivian to ensure that her pitch is clear and succinct and her purpose, her business purpose, and to learn, really, take away any tips.
Perfect. And the most important thing you forgot was your name.
Oh, Diane.
Diane. Thank you, Diane. Let's give Diane a big round of applause. Thank you, Diane.
And I'm quite excited to see how your pitches are coming along and what we can do to help you better and improve those pitches. So quite excited for all of you. I'm looking forward to it.
That's a pitch in the hat. Thank you, Hannah.
I'm Hunter. I'm the new marketing and communications executive here at Business Launchpad. I'm here today to get to know you guys, to take some photos. If you don't wish to be photographed, that's no problem. Just pull me aside and I'll make sure to avoid it. And yeah, and be able to share your stories out with our audience as well and feature all the wonderful things that you're doing.
Perfect. Thank you, Hunter. Let's give her a hand.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vivian.
Yeah, please.
I work in media. I'm a display account executive, and my business is a company that aims to uplift Black, African, and Caribbean people through arts and storytelling.
Love that. Perfect. Thank you. Let's give her a hand. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Rajia. I work in marketing, digital marketing, and my aim for this session is to basically learn how to pitch with impact.
Love that. Love that. Setting the bar right up there, Rajia. Thank you. Let's give her a hand.
Hi everyone, my name is Kiana. By profession, I'm a lawyer. My business has switched sides, so I'm now building out a legal agency And I'm here this evening to just learn more about refining a new pitch and making sure that it's beautiful.
Perfect. Thank you, Kiana. Good to see you again.
Hi everyone, I'm Kemi. I am the program and business coach at Business Launchpad. So essentially, I help you guys on the program having one-to-one sessions, learning a bit more about your business, and just knowing the different ways in which you can build and get closer to your goal. Essentially, happy to be here.
Perfect. Thank you, Kemi. And last but not least, I know you just walked in. Basically, we're doing a very quick, short, sharp intro to who we are and what we want to get at today. And I know you came a couple weeks ago, but your name, apologies.
My name is Misha Rainbow, and I love working with Business Launchpad because it's good, and I want to start launching my business now. So
That's it.
yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Nisha.
We have one in the chat, and that's from
Okay.
Aisha. So she says, I'm Aisha on the BLP program. I'm an artist and I want to learn how to deliver an impactful pitch to get people emotionally connected with my business.
Oh, love that, Aisha. Thank you. Let's give her a big round. Okay, feel free to take a seat. Right. So we're all in the right place. We're all here to learn about pitching and pitching with impact. Very quickly, I shared this diagram with you a couple of weeks ago. Very quickly, in the European Union, there's a lot of work done to understand what it means to be entrepreneurial and what specific attributes do entrepreneurs tend to have that can help them then start businesses and then also as well start to grow those businesses. I don't think you can see this very well, but basically there's 15 key attributes. Today we're going to be focusing on 3. Self-awareness and self-efficacy, which basically means how can you understand your own attributes, and then also how can you start to shape an identity that's beneficial for you to go out there and develop an idea into a business. How can you then mobilize others around you, so build a team, find customers, etc. And also obviously for funding, if you're looking for funding, how can you find investors and potential funders? But then also as well, how can you work with others? So how can you start to use your pitch as leverage to then get other people involved in your business, to get resources, to develop your business further? All right, so we're going to be focused on those 3 key attributes today. So why do we pitch? Anyone want to quickly shout out what is the purpose of a pitch? Yeah.
Share your ideas with a audience to eventually buy in or support your business in something appropriate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a founder, as a business owner of an idea that may be embryonic, maybe early stage, or maybe growing, you always need to be getting that idea out. You always need to be pitching to people, whether they be customers, whether they be potential team founders, whether they be people that can give you money to help develop your business further, to help your business grow. All right. So pitching is just the way to craft a message that enables people to buy into your idea, whether that's buying in with resources, money, time, etc. So why do we pitch? We pitch because we want to share a story about how our business is going to have an impact on someone or people. Stories are really powerful when constructed properly. We've been listening to stories since the dawn of time. Think about when you were kids, the stories that you were told around Disney and princesses, and probably some of those ideas and principles are still really prevailing today, right? So stories, if told really correctly, can really embed themselves in our mind. They can really help us persuade or be persuaded to actually take action, all right? And that's what we're going to try and do today with your pitch, turn it into a story that will help people be persuaded to take action to help you develop your business further. And why? Because stories are creative, they're powerful, and ultimately they're really persuasive. And the whole point of pitching is to tell powerful stories that enable people to take action to help us further. So, what is my background when it comes to pitching? So, I'm someone who I haven't taken a business degree. I lucked out and fell into a business that I started with my dad. And fundamentally, I didn't really know much about business. But one thing that I could do relatively well back in the day was tell quite interesting stories. And the thing is, when I was able to craft a really cool story about my business, I realized that a lot of people were able to then start resonating with what I was doing and who I am, and then help me. help me in terms of coming on board into my team, help me in terms of providing me with some access to services and resources, but also as well, help me in terms of giving me some cold hard cash so I can actually develop my business further, right? And all of that came from pitching. And honestly, if I can kind of do it, then pretty much anyone can. That's the whole takeaway today. Pitching is really about just taking a story, crafting it, making it super, super compelling, and then just telling it with as much confidence as you can. Hopefully, after the last session we had, you'll understand a bit more about how to help yourself be more confident and persuasive. And then today, once you craft a story, put the two together and you'll fly next week. Cool? So there's lots of different types of pitches. Okay, lots of different types of pitches. People pitch all the time. Think about, you know what, this is a really bad example, but think about when you've been on Tinder on a Hinge, right? You're pitching for a partner. Think about when you've been in a bar and you don't know anyone. You're pitching to people to try and find out a bit more about who they are. When you go to like a cocktail party as an awkward +1, right? You're pitching to people to find out a bit more about, you know, whether you could actually be friends or have a cool chat. But in a business context, you're always pitching. You're pitching for clients, pitching for customers, pitching for funding, etc. But there are three really pivotal kinds of pitches that will help you as a business owner. Number one, an elevator pitch. Number two, a client pitch, where you're sitting down with a client and you're pitching your business, you're giving them a presentation around the benefits of your business or your business service to them. And then number three, pitching for funding, whether you're pitching to a bank, an investor, but basically the ask is for further funds to help about your business, right? Today, we're going to be focusing on the first one specifically, and a lot of the principles, a lot of the details from the first one, elevator pitch, will then follow into your pitch for funding, hopefully then giving you a good structure for your session next week. So, before I carry on, what I wanted to do, I wanted to show you a pitch that I must admit, I show this pitch to everyone I see, all right? I would like you to have two questions in your head when you're watching this. Number one, is this pitch effective for you? And how you define effective could be, if you were a customer, would you go up into his website and have a look at this product? Or if you have money to invest in a business, would you at least have a meeting with him to find out a bit more about how you can help his business with your money? All right. So that thing, I want you to find out, I want you to think for yourself, do you think this pitch is effective? And number two, if you think it is effective, what are the things that he does or says, or what are the things of the pitch itself that help that pitch be effective for you personally? Okay, so number one, is this pitch effective? Number two, what are the things in that pitch that help it be effective for you? All right, now hopefully we've got the audio on up, so we shall kick it off. Let's see if I can get one thing.
Oh, wonderful.
Fantastic. All right, let me quickly jump onto YouTube so I can find it on YouTube.
It's working over here for me.
Oh, so this keyboard, I'm not prepared to. Can we all hear that?
I'm so stressed out, trying to plan all of life's other.
Listen to it.
I'm so stressed out, trying to plan all of life's other. I got little birthdays. I got next birthday party. But all things are summertime. I don't know if I can tell anybody for that. I wish there was one easy solution for me to order all my party supplies, just as easy as you book the Airbnb. Wait, there is. Party on Demand is your one-stop home party supply shop, delivering the party to you in 1 hour or less. We deliver the free essential ingredients you need to wow your guests and have an incredible memorable party. We deliver food, talent, and the decorations right to your door. We make it happen with our partnerships from Uber Eats, Grubhub, other Postmates delivering that tantalizing food that's yummy, yummy. In addition to that, our friends over at Amazon Prime curated party box and delivered to the plus. We hooked up over 1,500 incredible talents of dancing, acrobatics, and even your own personal chef for many It all starts with a box. Party with the Man is already part of the world's largest companies and players. The cool thing, think of Pinterest meets Etsy, delivered in your box and all exclusive right to your door. Oh man, it's going down. Our app is simple and easy to use, and in less than 5 clicks from your phone, your party is on. With over $251 billion in licensing in the rental industry, we know we're going to disrupt this marketplace because over 800,000 people celebrate their birthday in the U.S. alone every single day, not including over 500,000 people that just have a break social and celebration as well. With that, Party on Demand situates ourselves between the sweet spot of and things. Now, all that about it was simple. Nowhere, and I mean nowhere, can you find food, talent, and decor delivered to your door same day for the incredible price. Wait for it, $299. Ow! Make you want to shake something. We're asking for $1.5 million in exchange for 15% equity. This would give us a 15-month runway and yield approximately about $7.5 million. Party on Demand was inspired by my father, who passed away from cancer. But before he did, he said something. Whether that's a job, or even across the street, celebrate life every single day. Now you don't have to stress no more or wonder how to put on a really cool party and impress your friends. We can do it for you. I'm Big Willie G, the CEO of Party on Demand, and we're having you, and your best friend sitting next to you to party up. So call us, and I'll see you at the party. Boo, boo, boo.
Effective?
Should I play it for those in the chat?
Hello?
Should I play it for those in the chat?
Yeah, cool. I think while Blair will have a chat about it. Yes, okay, quick show of hands. Who reckons this is effective?
Graduation. I got Ted's birthday party.
You don't think it's effective? It's just.
On the planet tailgate.
Depends on what he's selling.
So that's my next question.
Solution for me to
Tell
order
me-
all my party supplies. Just as easy as
Who can tell me the name of the business?
wait, there is. Party on Demand is your one-stop
Yeah,
mobile
Party
party
on
supply
Demand. You can
shop,
tell me
delivering the
about
party
yourself,
meal
then.
in
What
1
Party on
hour.
Demand
Less.
does?
Deliver the 3
Like
essential
chicken,
ingredients you need to
food,
wow your guests and have an incredible, memorable party. We deliver food, talent,
Like a party of
right to your
everything
door.
you can party, you don't just get delivered to you like anything fun, right? Well, from my perspective, and a
Postmates delivering
is
that
one that is heavy.
food is yummy in your tummy.
Remember what they do. So, from my perspective, just taking phrase goes,
Delivered to your door.
now,
We have
I'm not asking you to pitch like that. Okay? I'm not suggesting that that is the best for every single scenario. There are some things that you can learn from the script that will help us next week when we're delivering our.
starts with the box.
Because
On Demand is already part of
if that was the expectation to step back and you remember it,
plan.
what do you think made it effective?
The Pinterest meets see delivered in your box. Exclusive right to your door. Oh man, it's going down. Simple and easy to use. And in less than 5 clicks from your phone, your party is on. Over $251 in this licensing to disrupt this marketplace. There's over 800,000 people celebrate their birthday in
I
the
was
US.
trying to play it for everyone inside the view. No, this is with laptop we're having issues with like sharing screen on it.
Spot of a things. Now, that's about it.
It's about the maybe structure, where things that you said, stuff happening around how he made
Doors same day for the incredible price. Wait for it, $299. Make you want to shake something. For $1.5 million exchange of give us a 15 way about $1.5 million. On Demand was inspired by my father, who had cancer. But before he did, he said, son,
research on his stat.
Yeah,
that's your job promotion.
research is really important, isn't it? And he made it so easy, like, to understand that these actually stuff as well. You really don't understand.
And a person
To understand it, you were really relevant
to see. Man, you.
Look, I think there are a few things that we can take on that as to how to.
And I'll see you at
construct a really interesting approach. I think, first of all, is to have a bit of a story to it, right? And when we think about stories, we think about, films, we think about TV series. I've got a little one, and she's 7, and she absolutely adores Moana, right? So if you think about Disney, we think about Moana. Moana's got like a typical story mechanic. There's a beginning, a middle, and end, right? His beginning, does anyone remember how his beginning was, or what he did to start the pitch? Ross screamed. He shouted. Did anyone hear that?
Yeah.
The very first thing he did was just scream, Now, again, I'm not suggesting.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Body language,
Body
it's
language.
really making people, like what I'm doing right now, actually, he's really making people kind of tune into him. But ultimately, introduction, the beginning of his pitch was all you could hear it correctly. And then a really powerful close as well. He talked about his dad's cancer and that being the reason why he wants to celebrate every day like it should last. All right. So it had this really nice story arc, which again, as humans, we've been telling stories since the dawn of time. We are to listen to and resonate with a really compelling story, especially if it's got this structure of having a really powerful beginning, a really engaging middle, and a really compelling close. And he had that in his pitch. Talking about stories, he had some really powerful stories. I mentioned obviously about his dad having cancer, and he had another story in a bit as well, which my brain is blanking right now. But the use of stories helped you tune in, and then mixed in with all the stats that he used, it made the whole thing really interesting, and it made it easy for us to follow as well. And then lastly, as you said, a whole bit of energy. Lots and lots of charisma and positivity. And again, I'm not saying they need to be up on the stage waving your arms and screaming at people. But like we said a couple of weeks ago, if you are positive and if you have positive energy about what you're doing, then that positive energy can basically be transmuted to people and they will also feel positive about you. Okay? Energy. How we doing, man? You all right? All good, yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a bit low.
It's all good, man. It's all good. We've only just kicked off, to be fair, so you haven't missed too much. So, Maya Angelou, we talked about Maya Angelou a couple of weeks ago, right? And this quote, it really resonates with me, and hopefully it resonates with you also. She says, she learned that people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, they will never forget how you made them feel. All right? They'll forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And as I said, pitching is just an introduction to people so that you can tell them more about your story, you can tell them more about why they should be excited in your business. All right. So it's about basically giving them a feeling of positivity. And in which you can give that feeling to them is just by being positive yourself. All right. So if you're up on stage and you're being positive, you've got good energy, good vibes, that is half the battle won in terms of someone thinking, what, should I have a meeting with them? Should I have a chat with them? Okay. So going back to an elevator pitch, what is an elevator pitch? Really simply, it's just a brief, powerful, and persuasive introduction to your big idea. All right. I highlighted keywords there. It is very brief. The reason why it's called an elevator pitch is because literally your pitch should take the amount of time it takes for you to get into the elevator and get off it. All right. Think about this. You walk into an elevator in Canary Wharf and the doors are just shutting All of a sudden, some hands come, they keep the doors open, and Sir Richard Branson walks in. All right, and you both go up into the 15th floor. You've got 15 floors whereby you are trapped in a lift. With Sir Richard Branson, some money, if he likes you. What can you say in that time that will convince Sir Richard Branson to say, you know what, I like you, let's keep on chatting?
Yeah.
All right, that is the whole point of an elevator. It's a really short, sharp pitch that will help persuade someone else to at least continue to have a chat with you further. All right. So, why do we need elevator pitches? As I said earlier, as entrepreneurs, as founders, as business owners, we should always be pitching. Whether it is to potential customers, to funders, to potential investors. If you have in your head and on memory, just a really short, sharp pitch that you can dish out whoever, wherever you are, you will find that more resources, more good things. And especially if you can just communicate that pitch really clearly, then more things, good things will come to you. But also as well, elevator pitches, they give us attention, right? If you have an ability to communicate really succinctly, really briefly, who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it, people know how they can help. And if people really easily know how they can help you, more times often, they're going to be able to help. All right, and if they can't help you, you know what, because they know what you do and how you do it, they can very easily tell someone else who may be able to help you exactly what it is that you do and how they can help. All right, so an elevator pitch is just a very good format for you to be able to get your ideas out to people and get attention. They also help you understand how well you know your business. All right, and this is quite key because if you meet someone and let's say I meet Giovanni in a bar and I'm talking about my business and I say, hi, I'm Carl. I want to work with, people that start businesses. I don't really know how I'm going to help them, but, I give them support. I run some workshops. I chat a lot and, there's some tools. That, as an elevator pitch, is all over the place. Giovanni won't know what on earth I'm doing, but he will also think, you know what? He doesn't know what he's doing. So why should I help him if he doesn't know what he's doing? All right. If you tell someone really clearly what it is that you do, the first thing that someone hearing that pitch will think is, you know what? This person knows their stuff. This person knows their business. And straight away, that's half the battle won. If someone thinks, you know what, you know your stuff, they're going to be a lot more convinced to help you. Why? Because you come across as credible. And that's going to be something that we revisit as well. Okay. But then also as well, they demonstrate how well you know your business and the progress you've made in your business. Because here's the thing. I touched on this earlier, and we talked about this a lot a couple of weeks ago. You should be thinking about your business as an experiment, all right? Because as entrepreneurs, as founders, you should always be thinking about the things that you don't know or that aren't concrete in your business and testing them, all right? Right now, you've got a load of assumptions around who your customer is, how much money you're going to need to take from your customer to deliver a service, how much money you're going to need for investment, how you're going to build this service or this product. You've got loads of assumptions. And your number one job right now as entrepreneurs is just to clarify in London with X service. Right? That may be an assumption you have. But then when you go speak to a load of black men, you might realize that actually black men don't really like this service. I might need to speak to teenagers who are between the ages of 15 and 18, So as entrepreneurs, you should always be testing these assumptions in your business. Running tests to understand from a data perspective whether your business really flies with them. And in accordance with those tests, your business pitch, your elevator pitch, is always going to be changing. It's always going to be evolving with those tests that you do. All right, so an elevator pitch is a really good sanity test to understand not only how well you know your business, but how much your business is actually progressing. So, what should you be telling your audience in an elevator pitch? Specifically, elevator pitches are really key to be able to just get out information about your business in a really clear way. But if you don't tell them these things, then they're not going to be able to actually help you. They're not going to be able to act on this pitch. So firstly, you need to tell them your what. What is the problem you are solving? Okay, what's this big pain point that you found in the market and you think, okay, you know what? I want to solve that. Number two, your who. Who is it that you're helping? Who has this problem that you're trying to solve? And where are they? What do they look like? How old are they? What do they do online? What do they do offline? Who is that person or those people? Number three, your how. Very briefly, how will you help them? What is this service, this solution, this idea that you have that's going to help your potential customers solve this really painful problem that they have? Number four, your why. What's the benefit of solving this for these customers? What's the benefit to them of solving their problem with your service, your solution, your idea? How are they going to benefit from that? And then number five, lastly, how they can help. You know, what's your ask? If you have an elevator pitch for those five things, trust me, someone is going to fully understand your business and think very quickly, okay, can I help you? If not, who can help me that I know? Okay? Ben. Oh, sorry. You know that's a good shout. Let's try. 1 minute, please, caller. No, that's not helping. No, that's not helping. No, that's not helping. 2 seconds. I can't make it big on the screen. Let me see if I can do it. Well, no, let's test that. I'll tell you what, do you want to move forward? It might be a bit easier then. Well, feel free. I'm not going to bite, you know. So, but yeah, the space is here. We're going to move forward. And also, as well, I'm going to share this deck with Giovanni, who's going to share you guys out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wanted to show you another pitch. I scoured YouTube for bad pitches. YouTube didn't really give me very good options. So I found another pitch. And this is an elevator pitch. And I want you basically answer 3 questions, all right, in your head. What problem does this business solve? Number 1, what problem does this business solve? Number 2, who does this business help? All right, who does this business help? Who are the customers, potential customers? And number 3, how does it help them? Okay, so number 1, what problem does this business solve? Number 2, who does this business help? And number 3, how does it help them? Okay, and then after you've kind of got a good answer for those 3 questions, I want you to ask yourself, is this pitch a face? All right, and by the way, be kind.
Oh, hi, I'm Carl, Director at Audio Wings. And at Audio Wings, we believe the way in which you listen to your favourite music is fundamentally changing. But we want to be at the forefront of that. So, we're developing a pair of patent-pending premium headphones that wirelessly connect directly to platforms like Spotify via 3G. Using the power of the cloud, we're emancipating tethered headphones, really helping savvy affluent and early tech adopters enjoy having access to all of their favourite music anywhere they are, all directly on their headphones. My name's Carl, and I'm a director at Audiowit, where we're creating smart headphones that will transform the way you enjoy listening to your favourite music.
Oh, I'm gonna try and stop crying inside now.
That is it.
Huh?
That is it.
That was my pitch, but as you can see, I have blue hair there, so that's about 10 years ago, alright? So,
Is that you?
you think that's me?
Hi,
I don't wanna see
I'm
it.
Carl,
It's like an
director
advert,
at
like,
Audiowit.
Pardon?
it's like an advert, like an advertising your, like, you.
Yeah, that's basically what the pitch.
But yeah, 100% like an advert. And that's the whole point of the pitch. And pitch is just really a short advert for your business side, right? Yeah, I'm really glad you said that. It's a great point. So, okay, going back to those questions, as I said, let's be kind.
What problem is it?
Legit, what problem does that business solve? Anyone?
Is it a problem?
Pardon?
Is it a problem?
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. There was no problem that it solved, right? There was no problem that the business solved, or at least there was no problem in that pitch that was communicated to us of what that business did. That solved the problem for someone.
When you said the people that were like tethered and wired headphones, that wasn't. No, I just assumed that was the term back in the days for wired headphones.
It was.
Smart headphones. So was that not you suggesting the problem you were solving, or you were just yapping? What's the problem? I wrote it down.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, that was kind of the problem. I'm glad you picked up on it. But you know what? Because of the jargon using the word tethered and emancipated, it's very hard to understand exactly how that business helps people.
That's
What,
true.
you know what I mean? So yes, that was the problem I was trying to solve. But at the same time, that didn't become cost. And honestly, who really has that problem? Which comes into my next question. Who does this business help? People who love music. Right, thank you. Jeez. I mean, yes, but doesn't everyone like music?
But then again, at the same time, there might not be people that like music, but will still want to use headphones for whatever the case that it may be.
You're right.
Because everyone have this different walks of life for using this for the same thing, using the same
You're
product.
right. You're absolutely right. But the challenge is, you know, what you've just said there highlights the big problem with that pitch. I try to pitch it for anyone and everyone, you know, whether you like music, whether you didn't like music or you wanted to listen to music in a very specific scenario, I wanted to make it available for anyone and everyone. And when you make something for anyone and everyone, guess who buys it? No
No
one.
one.
You know? It's true though, isn't it?
So due to like oversaturation.
It is oversaturation, yeah, but at the same time, as a business owner, what you want to do, you want to sell one thing to literally 100 people who are very, 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 very similar. All right? Whether they're similar age, similar interests, similar background, similar geography, you want to sell one thing to very, 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 very similar people. Because if you start trying to sell things to people that live in Jamaica or people that are elderly or people that are disabled, you cannot create marketing that will be compelling to all of these people with very little cost or very little money side. Okay, and if you try to do that, the people that you're trying to sell it to, trying to market to, won't actually resonate with it. But if you really find a few people, the very specific problem that they have, how they're currently trying to solve that problem, and then design a product or service that solves just that problem, guess who's going to buy it? Them few people. All right. And the more few of those people you find, the more things of your product or service you're going to sell.
So
All right. And that's how businesses start by solving one problem really, really well, finding 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 100 people that have that problem, and then slowly growing and finding more people that have that problem. That business was not doing that, you know. Sorry.
I would just like you to clarify something so that let me speak for myself so that I don't make this mistake. So you just said, that you felt like in the pitch you were selling to everyone,
right? But then he specifically said in the pitch that it's for the affluent early tech adopters. That to me is a specific group. Like they're the people that were on your scooters before Lime put them out. And even still, obviously you didn't go, well, I don't know if you went through with the headphones, but now we live in a world where everyone has smart headphones. Right?
Yeah.
Most people don't like wired headphones. And I'm sure at some point people would love their music. Like I can't have my phone everywhere. And sometimes it will be nice to listen to my song and not have the phone so I can listen secretly. Cool. But I'm not an affluent tech person. So what was it about that statement now in hindsight, or what you just shared, that wasn't explicit enough to make it clear that it's just one particular group that you're solving the problem with?
That's a really considered question. Thank you.
I have the same question actually.
Yeah, cool. That's a really good question. Long story short, it's too broad.
Yeah, that's what I was
It's too
thinking.
broad. If you are an affluent early tech adopter, you could be male, you could be female, you could be based in the States, you could be based in the UK, based in Africa, you could be young, you could be old. Although it's good to focus on the psychographics, does everyone understand what that means?
No.
Like your hobbies, your interests. So when you are trying to create something, it's a lot better to focus on people that have similar hobbies, similar interests, similar pain points, problems, than it is to focus on all men of a certain age, or all women of a certain age, right? Because even if you focus on women or men of a certain age, they're going to be very different. You all here are probably of a certain age, and you all have very different hobbies, very different interests, and more importantly, you all buy probably very different brands, very different consumer products, and you probably all follow very different influencers. If someone was to come in this room and say, I've got a product for you, probably only a couple of you would actually put up your hand and say, I want to buy that product. And basically, that's what I was trying to do. It was too broad an audience.
So would you say in the pitch, if you were, even better doing this again, that for the sake of our pitch, we should go into that much specific detail whilst pitching on who the person we're trying to reach?
100%. I'll tell you exactly how this pitch has evolved, right? I won't show it to you because I'm embarrassed already. But basically, what we did, we evolved the business and we targeted specifically, we even named it amateur competitive long distance runners. That's what we named our persona, all right? We were very specific in finding our amateur competitive long distance runners in London. And specifically what we did, we put, those headphones, you can't see it, I didn't talk about it, but they have sensors in there which understand your body activity like a smartwatch and then provide all your workouts. All right, so we pivoted the whole business to be very, very specific to amateur competitive long distance runners. And then that's just what we're naming the category, right? Even within that, we're very specific on those who are training for a marathon in London. Now, from our perspective, that helped those who are training for a marathon understand clearly who we are and how we can benefit them. And that helped us get a bit of headway, make some sales, etc. Because when we had that pitch, no one understood whether it was for them or not. No one really understood what the product was. And no one understood the value that it provided them specifically. Because as you said, Giovanni, even if you don't like music, that could be interesting, but it's not that interesting enough to solve a problem that you have.
Yeah.
You know?
Are we going to make a pitch today?
Pardon, sorry?
Are we going to make a pitch today?
100%.
Are we going to film it on camera?
Oh, that's a good idea. Thanks for that.
Oh, because you put up your video, so
No, that's not my video for a pitch that I'm doing like next week. 'Cause I'm not pitching next week. That's a pitch I did 12 years ago, 10 years ago. So yeah, don't worry, we're not going to film it, but at the same time, it is going to be something that you will create today, and then one of our exercises is actually pitching to each other.
I have a question. So when it comes to the problem, would you suggest that we stick to just one problem, or can we have multiple problems that we address?
Oh, okay. I love this question. Thank you. So I personally love entrepreneurs who are very, very focused. All right. Because my assumption right now is that you don't have a heap of money to go away and serve a number of different types of people and have a number of different types of services. So it's a much, much better strategy to focus on one problem, one service. And then the good thing is, right, once you start to find that can solve, But right now, I'm assuming that you haven't got the cash to do that, so start simple, start with focus. Does that make sense? Does that go against anything that's been said already?
No, it makes sense. But
Cool.
for me, for example, I have 3 different problems. But I think that they kind of relate to each other. So I was just trying to brainstorm. But yeah.
No, that's fine. I think what we'll do, we'll have a look at that in a bit more detail in a second,
Yeah.
actually, 'cause that's really interesting. Thank you. All right, so I think one of the biggest challenges of that last pitch was that it didn't really have that much structure. And I take your positive feedback on board, right? But, you know,
I think it was as bad as you're making out.
well, okay.
It had a room for improvement. The same way as Party on Demand, I personally wasn't that impressed.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was.
Over the top a bit.
Same.
Because I'm a character.
You know what? Yeah,
True.
that's really interesting. So obviously, like people that create startups, that whole community is massive in America, and it's probably not as big in the UK and not as developed in the UK, which is why people like Business Launchpad are doing incredible stuff with you guys, right? They're trying to make it a lot more accessible to everyone across the UK, or at least in London or Lambeth, right? But at the same time, the way Americans pitch, sometimes it can be overly charismatic, over the top. And I get it, you're absolutely right. It can be a bit much, right? Now, as I said before, my disclaimer was that I'm not expecting to be like Big Willie G and be like all over the place, etc. 100%, 100%. But at the same time, he did the things that's interesting with him is that he's creating a party business, a business that provides the parties. So as the front face of that business, he's got to bring the party himself, right?
Sounds very true.
So it's about trying to have a pitch that resonates not only with the audience, but also with your product and service.
That's good.
So just going back to pitches then. So they all need structure, all right? What does that structure look like? We talked about having a really strong benefit statement a couple of weeks ago, and I think a couple of you were aware of that, so we'll go into that in a bit more detail in a second. But also we talked about having a strong opening, an engaging middle, and a persuasive close. We'll go into that in a bit as well. But then also credibility. What is it about you that will really help people buy into you more? All right. Now that can be degrees, GCSEs, that can be your team, that can be the fact that you've been in this business, or at least you've understood this business for a long time. That could be your passion, your commitment, you know. There are a number of things that make you all really uniquely credible. All right. And I fully believe this. And the whole point of a benefit statement and an elevator pitch is for you to just bring that out and show people. All right. There are things about you that make you uniquely credible to do the business that you are doing. Have a think about that. And lastly, as well, for an elevator pitch, the shorter it is, the better. All right, the shorter it is, the better. Because honestly, I'm sure we've all been we've all walked on the street and had someone try and sell us something, and we thought, you know what, let's give them a bit of time, and they go on, and they go on, and they go on, and they go on, and then they try and close. And by the time they're trying to close, we've tuned out. All right. But if we can be really brief about who we are, what we do, how we help, then that will land a lot better than a long pitch, especially one-to-one as well. So is my laptop done? Was it?
No, that's my one.
Oh, cool, okay. All right, so very quickly, what should a great benefit statement look like? All right, so first of all, a benefit statement is literally just a statement showcasing your benefit you want to provide. Okay, so the benefit statement is basically like an elevator pitch. And if you go into a networking event or a conference or a meetup, and someone asks, hi, what do? You can very quickly rattle this off, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, done. And they know exactly who you are, what you do, and how they potentially help you. All right. Now, a great benefit statement, first and foremost, it's emotive, or at least it appeals to their emotion. All right. There's a lot of science that's been done around how our brains work. And without boring you with the nitty-gritty, basically, when we want to make a decision, we think about the emotional aspect of that decision first, and then back it up with logic. All right. So, for example, if you're renting a room in a house or renting a house, right, you think, okay, can I see myself living here? Can my TV fit there? You know, what kind of colours can I paint that room? Before you start thinking, okay, right, is this big enough? Is this in my budget? Okay? So we think about emotional aspects of the decision before we actually think about the logic. And so if we are pitching, and if we're trying to get someone to do something for us or provide us with something, we need to appeal to our emotional side. Number two, it's always better to state your pitch in the past or the present tense. All right. If I was to pitch you and say, "Hi, I'm Carl. I want to help future founders." Straight away, because I pitch that in the future tense, someone's going to think, "So you're not doing it now? Why aren't you doing it now?" And straight away, that question in their head means that I've lost credibility in their head. All right. Whereas if I say, "Hi, I'm Carl, I have helped," or "I am helping future founders," straight away, that person is thinking, okay, Christ, he's doing it. How can I put more fuel on this fire? How can I help him more? Okay. So, even if you are not running a business today, just say it in the past or present tense, and that will straight away give you a couple of credibility points with whoever you're pitching. Number three, we talked about this a lot, but be really specific as to who you're helping. All right. What you want is the person you are pitching to very quickly qualify themselves into or out of being able to help you. All right. So, for example, if you're providing services to disabled women who are elderly, then whoever you are pitching can very quickly think, okay, look, you know what, I know someone who can help them, or I have a community of that people that can help them. Very quickly, they can understand how they can provide value to you. And even if they cannot, that's fine. They may be able to introduce you to someone. But if you are more specific on who you're helping, they can very quickly qualify themselves into or out of a further discussion with you. Fourthly, a really good benefit statement has obviously a very clear, tangible benefit that it provides, or a very clear, tangible problem that it solves. All right. So going back to my tail pitch, there was no real clear, tangible problem that it was solving, right? It was on tethered devices and emancipating the cloud. That's just BS. That doesn't mean anything to anyone, right? But actually, if you say, look, I'm helping people, I've got a business in that, but I'm helping people feel comfortable in their garments, which was one lady's business that was here a couple of weeks ago. That's really clear. And lastly, as well, I'm not sure if anyone's ever been to like a startup networking event before. One of the worst things is when you meet people who are all about themselves, all about their business. Hi, I do this. I've been doing this for ages. This is great. My business is doing X, Y, Z, and Christ's sake, it's just going off. They are all about themselves. All right. If you can demonstrate how you benefit others, then not only is that just putting good out into the world, but also as well, people will resonate to that. Because I think intuitively, a lot of people want to just add value to other people's lives. And if you can demonstrate how your business does that, then a lot of people will gravitate towards you. All right. So the best way to do that is by literally not mentioning the product. Just mention, instead of the product, mention the benefit that your product has and who it provides benefit to. All right. So, for example, my headphones, technically, they are incredibly complex, right? Incredibly complex. And I could talk for hours to anyone that wanted to listen to me about technically how we developed it, the intellectual property we've created and granted to kind of create them, specifically what they measure in the body and how they measure it with minute detail. But you know what? Within about 20 seconds at best, people tune out. So instead, if we say, look, we help runners and we help them by helping them prepare really well for training for their marathons, people understand that as a benefit and they resonate to us. I don't really need to know the detail. And the same applies for you guys, all right? If you can just communicate the benefit of your business, people will be able to resonate with that. Right, I'm conscious that I'm lecturing at you, so I'm going to try to be quick about this. But basically, we're going to do a very quick exercise, all right? We're going to focus on your businesses, because what we want to do, we want to understand 3 at most key benefits of your business that we can then pull out and create a whole benefit statement and elevator pitch around. Okay, so we're going to work individually. Yeah, individually for 5 minutes, and we're going to think through, in fact, not 3, let's go through 1, because I'm conscious of time. 1 big benefit that your business has. Very quick show of hands. Who here understands the difference between a benefit and a feature? Anyone? No one?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll very quickly help, all right? So here's a chair. The feature of this chair is that it's got a cushion, all right? That's a feature of the chair.
Art.
The benefit of the cushion on the chair is that it makes the chair comfy. All right? A feature of the chair is that it's got 4 legs. The benefit of the 4 legs is that it's sturdy. All right? So we want to be talking less about the features and more about the benefits of the chair, and I say the chair, sorry, your product and service, so that it will resonate. Okay? So 5 minutes. What's 1 key benefit of your business, your service, your idea that would resonate for potential customers? All right? And I'll come around and help you guys as well. You guys are doing a t-shirt business, right?
Well, it's a little bit more than that.
Please, sorry, tell me.
But basically, it is for young creators.
What's
Okay.
sales
Such as
businesses?
artists, musicians, and people designers. Her story is she slipped through the net. She's got additional learning support movements. She suffered from.
Oh, there we are. Thanks,
That's one performing. She lost a lot of her. What they call delayed autism.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
voice,
So you help these businesses.
like the infant state.
Okay.
No.
So
It's more like.
basically, it is about
Okay, yeah.
finding transformative passionate therapy.
Okay.
So it's creative therapy. So what she's trying to do is really promote creative wellness
Kind of really good.
to young adults in a similar scenario. So basically, these are the young people who identify the problem.
Okay.
They were socially isolated.
Like, what's your business idea? So you might have missed the
They slipped through the
introduction.
net.
I'm Hunter, the marketing executive for Business Launchpad. So yeah,
So they have to.
so yeah, I'm just trying to get to know you guys a little bit better.
Good.
Yeah.
These are the risks. Social depression, where seeking critical expression, from trauma to success. That is the aim of it.
Wow, that's really good.
So I'm sort of encouraging her to show what she's created. T-shirts, she's doing writing, like therapy, and her writing song.
You have like a.
Okay.
She's now using all the studio train. To music.
That's true. I mean, just think about the benefits to it. That's a really powerful benefit to it. You create media to help you transform to success. You know?
And to share, to watch more to reach out to other people.
Yeah.
In a similar situation, isolated, lacking confidence, no way to promote what they do, creatively, find a way online to share that. Yeah,
This is triggering for me, in a very positive way,
right.
because I had a mentee a few years ago when I was used to work at university.
Yeah.
She was almost identical in the talent that she had. She was a bit older, from
Yeah.
she was she had autism,
Yeah.
and what she basically used to do, she felt very, she had a very low self-esteem and lack of confidence in herself due to the learning disability. So, and during the pandemic, especially, in fact, prior to the pandemic, it meant that she struggled to even leave the house. So she would create little small bracelets just out of string and put a bit of paper, which basically gave her really positive affirmations just to be able to leave the house. Just things like you are brave, or just things like you are confident.
But this
And
is
then
what
she
led
put that together, and she started selling business around it. Now she's a public speaker. She's doing so well. And this resonates. Your story resonates.
She's been out at home doing lockdown, learning how to make t-shirts, this fan painting, and we do stencils because I'm a graphic designer. Just that she's saying it's a platform to share. Here and empower, but
I think
she wants to pitch for it. Exactly.
yeah.
She needs equipment to do what she's doing.
Well, I think
I do that big time that they know.
think through very specifically who is it that's going to benefit from this? Who's going to want to listen to the music? Who's going to want to share in the art or consume and create with you your music, your art? Like, what are they going to get from this? And I think you've actually well, so I think also in
Seek to inspire and empower young adults over the age CP 25, but that's what happened. And when you're over 25, you cannot publish the healthcare plan. Support you through education, further education. 25 years is a cutoff. If you're 25 during lockdown, you're doubly impacted. So this is her. Her learning support needs wasn't identified. She is now noted as having autism.
so what we need to
So
do
the
then, we need to
additional well, at risk of slipping through the net, feeling stuff with little or no experience, and need to be unable to do things for themselves.
so how do we package up? How do we name those people? How do we label those people? You know, because they're the people that are going to benefit.
Vulnerable adults.
Pardon?
Vulnerable adults.
Perfect.
At risk of slipping through the net.
Yeah. And that is who you're helping. You're helping vulnerable adults who are at risk of slipping through the net, find some sense of solace or your purpose.
So this is what she decided to do, to promote strategic critical market empowerment initiative with learning opportunities for creative sessions, so not only elevate the brand visibility, but also drive personal development. It's me just getting wordy there. What
No, that's fine,
sets
but I
us
think, as I said, I mean,
apart?
in terms of the benefit statement,
Yeah.
it needs to be a lot tighter, you know? Concise, yeah. So you're helping vulnerable adults who have learning challenges by X, Y, Z. You know, whether that be your music, your art,
So
etc.
is this the mission then?
It's not the mission, no. It's more about just taking a lot of what you put down there and just making it really succinct
Okay.
and really specific. Does that make sense at all? I can come back and help in a second as well, right? But I think you've got a lot there that you can go off. How are we getting on? How are you guys?
Alright,
Yeah, don't forget to vote.
yes, I will. These are all workers, but I'll still do it anyway. Still come out.
I just want a good photo.
Still 8 minutes. Yeah, still 8. But yeah, you lot stayed for. You was longer than I thought. You know.
Feel like you stayed longer than I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because this kind of when they're talking to themselves is where the good photos are.
Yeah, that's true.
To be fair, I was
That's true.
interested just to see what actually is.
How did you find like everyone? Well, that's here. That's engaging.
Are we on mute?
There's a
Sorry, can anyone hear anything? I can't. Hello. Hello.
Basically, where you
Hello?
tell your story authentically,
Okay.
and then the other which kind of filters into that one property site that you have. I would say you need one to fill that just to. Yeah, we'll take my ticket.
Talk about my story, and then use this one. And do you need help? with that, or-
I think you should. I mean, for a slide, that's a lot of words. And also,
Like,
I think what's really powerful, if you have some statistics and if you have some percentages of statistics that.
I have.
I-
Like,
Put them there.
yeah,
Put them there.
I always.
Yes, just how we. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm good.
I missed a lot at the beginning. Okay, that's cool.
Not that much, because we
That's
had
not,
some.
problem.
We was facing some technical difficulties anyway to begin with,
Yeah.
so you don't really miss it too much.
Put that in the problem.
You probably
But also, I'm very
by
conscious.
the time we got here, probably
Like a bed
missed
statement,
like
like
10, 15
specifically
minutes.
the.
So it wasn't
18
nothing
sentence
too bad.
statement will articulate some.
After no, it's all good, man. Honestly,
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out first.
Alright, cool. We'll come back to that in a second.
Okay.
Nisha, benefit statement? Yeah, oh, sorry, one benefit that you have that your business has. How are you getting on with your benefit, guys? That one benefit? Yeah? That's fine. Don't worry about the format. I think, and right now, as long as you have just one benefit. Let's go off that, and then we can create a whole statement around that. Okay?
Okay.
Plan?
Yes.
Do you reckon you've got one benefit that you can share? What we're gonna do, everyone's gonna stand up again and just share one benefit of their business.
Do we need to do the run? But you know how the chair is, you got the 4 legs and then.
Just say, my benefit of a business is X. Okay, you don't have to pitch it, just literally, say it. Fine. Please feel free to stand up. Right, guys, if everyone could stand up then, and we're gonna just share one benefit each of our business, okay? No, that's good, but I mean, I did ask some before, you would assume what I was gonna say, so thank you. Right, who wants to go first?
Because someone else go first, like, I don't know.
Wanna go first?
You said the how I presented with how.
So, okay, if I think about what I do, that I help future founders, my benefit is that I help future founders take an idea to a business rapidly. The benefit being rapid.
Okay,
Right?
not to do.
No,
I don't need to do the run up, just the benefit.
just the benefit.
Okay. The benefit, one of the main benefits of my business is accessibility.
Perfect. Sorry, one benefit of business. When it's the noise of the dealerships when you in out the car, and then obviously it being going to be a group having a car partnership elsewhere. What do the dealerships get from you? Yeah. Electric cars. And what's the benefit of electric cars to the dealerships? There we go. There we go. So, okay, so you help dealerships become more sustainable. Yeah. All right, that's your benefit. So there's a technique that Honda used back in the 70s, 80s, where they asked the 5 whys. All right, and I kind of did something like that. But basically, if you provide some kind of conceptual nebulous kind of thing, as 5 whys, you get down to the heart of that. All right. So you provide dealerships with system options, but you now need to think very clearly and very quickly about how you do that and whether that relates back to the actual service you want to provide. But yeah, think about that in your time. But you know, if benefit if they provide them with sustainable options, let's go with that for the time being. Okay.
Electric cars, it has to be the payment one, and we can go around and everything that makes electric cars work. Why do you want to pay that? Why do they want to use electric cars?
I do, but that's not a differentiator. That's not a differentiator for your business. Bear in mind, your business, I'm assuming, isn't massive right now.
No,
Right? There's a lot of other manufacturers that provide electric cars and solutions that help cars become more sustainable. So you want to create a benefit that is uniquely yours, but still relevant to who you want to help. All right. Sustainability is decent for the time being, but that doesn't really kind of allude to how you're going to do what you're going to do. So just think through that, okay? For your pitch. I know we talked about it the other day, yeah? But at the same time, through mergers and acquisitions, you need a lot of capital for that. I'm assuming you haven't got a lot of capital, and let's assume that no one's going to come next week has a lot of capital. So how can someone help you? Because if they've got a lot of capital, they're going to be like, you know what? I can't help them. I'm going to tune out. I'm going to listen to someone else. Yeah. Well, you best give them a call then, right? Well, good luck with that one. So you wanna, there's one benefit in these.
I help neurodivergent women find the school options to start school and build in social systems.
I mean, you've gone past the benefits of the benefits statement, so that's even better. I was gonna show you like a follow-up, but you've nailed it. Can you say that again, please?
Oh goodness. I help neurodivergent women find discrete options to self-soothe and feel confident in social settings.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
I'll say mine now.
Yeah, go for it.
My benefit of my business is health and care
Okay.
and beauty and cleaning.
And clean them.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Health and care and beauty.
Yeah.
There's a very, very big term. There's been a lot of things to a lot of people. There's a lot healthy that can help someone be caring, that can help someone be beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. So let's think about your product, which is
the health care beauty business.
okay. So what does it provide?
Health care products, cosmetic,
What kind of cosmetics?
health like I can sell vitamins and lotion, body products.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you sell them currently or?
Is my plan, I'm doing it.
Pardon, sorry?
Is my plan.
Cool, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the favorite vitamin or favorite thing you have currently that you want to sell?
Like vitamins that you get from like the health shop.
Perfect.
Healthy vitamins.
So when someone takes these vitamins, how do you think they will fit?
Healthy.
I eat toast, I feel healthy afterwards, right? Let's be very specific.
Good health.
But what does good health look like for people that you reckon will have these vitamins? Let me give you some help, right? Will they feel energetic? Feel confident? Will they feel?
Yeah, they're confident.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it's that level of detail they want to get to, right? That's what I'm trying to drill down. I'm not trying to, annoy you as such, or maybe I am, but basically you want that level of detail.
Yeah.
Because if, like the advert that you saw, if someone sees an advert for you and your vitamins, they won't understand very quickly how those vitamins can help them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's give her a hand. Thank you.
So my business helps the Afro diaspora who feel fragmented from their cultural roots and struggle with feelings of cultural disconnection by providing a sense of identity and belonging.
Wow. Okay. That even in like the last 5 minutes, that's we've gone a load, right? I think you need to shorten who you're helping. So could you repeat that? Just that audience bit, please.
Afro diaspora who
And so-
feel fragmented from their cultural roots and struggle with feeling about cultural disconnection.
Okay. Probably you wouldn't need to say and struggle with feelings of cultural disconnection,
Okay.
but at the same time, that's really specific, which is great. And I think if someone can really tightly understand who your audience is, then they can understand and visualize the problems that they have, and then obviously understand how they can help them. So, can I provide you with that advice? No, it's really good. Thank you.
But do you think I need to shorten this? Because
I think it's a shorten what I call an audience state, so who your help is. Okay, but apart from that, because you've got a really tight audience statement, I think it's very obvious how someone, what their problem is, and then you obviously go into it. And I think it's also very obvious to someone how they can help, if they can help. So yeah, that's really good. It's a really good benefit. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, sure.
so we've brought it down a bit.
Okay.
Who's it for?
Well, I think before we start who it's for, let's think about the one big benefit that you provide, because you've got a lot of benefits as well.
Okay, we promoting wellness
Okay.
for healing,
Pardon me.
through creativity,
Okay.
for healing for those who've experienced trauma.
So that's the feature, right? You're promoting healing. Oh my gosh, my brain's not working today. So you're promoting healing, but that's the feature. How do you make people feel when they buy your t-shirts or when they hear your music? There you go. That's a great start. Excited. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So you help people, sorry, feel excited
happy.
and happy. All right. Now, to make that really land, you need to understand who those people are. All right. And we talked about this earlier. So people who are vulnerable adults.
Yeah.
All right. So if you say we help people who are vulnerable adults feel excited about
Their creative potential.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So we help vulnerable adults feel excited about their creative potential.
Yeah.
And you know what? You say that, people straight away understand who you help and how they can add value to you. All right?
I've
Does that help?
got two,
Yes,
Cool.
thank you.
Sorry.
I've got two statements from two people from the chat.
Cool.
So the first one's from Aisha, and she says, one benefit of my business is that it helps create meaningful connection, whether through gifting, creative workshops, or helping them connect with their art.
So what was the first part, please? Let me read it. And this is from Aisha, is it?
Yeah, Aisha.
Thank you, Aisha. Sorry, where is it?
So this one's her one.
So one benefit of my business is that it helps create meaningful connection, whether through meaningful gifts, creative workshops, or helping them connect with their art. Okay, that's great. I think we need to understand what meaningful connection means, and therefore it's even more important to understand who is actually benefiting from that meaningful connection. So if you're to say that we help neurodivergent women find meaningful connections with partners, with lifelong relationships, for example, then that meaningful connection makes sense in that context. So it's about trying to provide context around what that benefit is. And that's the whole point of the benefit statement. But I think on its own, you need to just try to understand what meaningful connection really means and define it so that people can understand how beneficial it is for them. I hope that makes sense, Aisha.
Perfect. The next one is from Rayhan.
Cool.
And his one says, benefit of my business is that it creates a unique way for people to connect, break the ice between each other. It is basically to make themselves feel refreshed and ready for the day. One, someone posts a question, i.e., tell me a fact about yourself. Their time to question overall game. Two, they pass it to someone online. The online person answers it to keeps it getting passed on like a chain.
Okay. So those last two things, I mean, they give you a how the business works, which is good for context. But in terms of the benefit, so it helps them feel energized to start their day. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Because that's a really powerful benefit in itself. They help you feel energized to start your day. Yeah, that's a really powerful benefit. And I think, yeah, what he's then done is provided context into the how. What I'd probably do is less about the how, but more about the who, you know? So who is it that's going to use it, that's going to feel powerful about their day? And if you can drill into that before the how, then that will really help that benefit statement land.
Perfect.
All right. And just to kind
There's
of
one more.
No, sorry, yeah, carry on.
Sorry, there's one more for one person,
Mm.
another person, and it's from Faith. And her one was says, one benefit of my business is that it helps young people from underrepresented backgrounds to find purpose through design education.
Oh, God, I love that. Love that. Love that, Faith. That's really tight, really succinct, really brief, and really powerful. So yeah, that's a great benefit statement, Faith. Cool. Thank you, Faith. And thank everyone online as well. All right, so what's the that you've done? You have basically taken this template, right? A benefit statement, and you put in your business, what you offer in the present or past tense, which is great. And then you put your target audience, so vulnerable adults, African diaspora, and then you put in the specific benefit that you help them with, and or the specific problem that they're faced with. All right. I've started with benefit because I guess when people are being pitched to, they like to understand the positive thing that you are doing for someone else over and above the thing that your problem that someone else has. Right? That's when you're pitching one-to-one. However, when you're pitching a group of people or on stage, people like to very quickly understand the problem you are solving, then understand if actually there's a business here that can be created. All right, so let me just kind of clarify that distinction. When you are networking in a room, pitching people individually, speaking to people individually, people tend to like to understand the value, the positive value that you're providing to someone else, which is why we say we are benefiting someone like X. All right. When you are on stage pitching your business to people that can help you in your business, people very quickly want to understand the size and scale of the problem you are solving, because in their heads, they're thinking, okay, is there a business here? And is this person credible enough to kind of do this business? And can this business then grow? Does that make sense, everyone? So I think that's quite key. Because obviously on Wednesday, is it? Tuesday, sorry. On Tuesday, there's some of you that will be pitching on stage. There's some of you that will be walking around and networking and pitching your business to people that are in the room. Okay. So if you are on stage, and Obed obviously touched on this last week, it's best to have, as we talked about, a problem statement, or at least a slide on your slide deck talking through the problem that you're solving. But then when you're walking around, it's best to have the benefit you're providing. Okay. So I think most of you have taken this benefit statement and applied it to your business and have now a really tight benefit statement. What I'll do, I'll share this with you afterwards as well. I'm really conscious of time, so we'll go through the ways in which you can then start to expand that into an actual pitch, right? Because what you have here as a benefit statement is basically an elevator pitch. And going back to what I said earlier, if you were in the lift with Richard Branson, and if you were able to call Richard Branson up very quickly and get him in a lift with you for like 15, 30 seconds, after you have given him that benefit statement, he will know exactly what your business does. He will know exactly the benefit your business has. And he can then think very quickly whether he can or will help you. All right? That's an elevator pitch. And very quickly, when you are running around on Tuesday speaking to people in the room, that is what you need to deliver to them for them to understand if they can help you or not. All right. So I'm not sure if you do homework, if you want homework, but nevertheless, in preparation for Tuesday next week, I would strongly suggest you all write a benefit statement that is as brief as that. All right. Because even if you do not use it on Tuesday, which you really should, you will use it at so many other times throughout your life. Or throughout the life of your business. All right? Because that's your elevator pitch. Now, moving quickly on, how we then go from an elevator pitch to a longer pitch that enables someone to understand what your ask is. This is a really quick format to help people understand how to actually construct a presentation with an ask at the end of the presentation. All right? So the presentation needs to have some steps, and I know Obed has gone through this in a lot of detail with you a couple of last week, right? But I want to very quickly go through some of these things because ultimately they should all be in your slide deck. All right. And I'm going to be controversial here. It should all be in that order. Your slide deck, which is, are they pitching for 3 minutes or 5 minutes? Sorry, you know, Giovanni.
Sorry?
Is everyone pitching for 3 minutes or 5 minutes on
I
Tuesday?
believe it's 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Cool. Okay, so in the 3 minute. I
It's 3
mean, if it
minutes.
wasn't, it is now. So let's assume it's 3 minutes, all right? But in those 3 minutes, you want to basically talk about all of these things, all right? And you want to talk about each of these things and weave it together like it's a story. Similar to Big Willie G without the charisma to an extent, all right? But you want to weave it all together and make it like a story, all right? So first thing, you want to have your powerful opening. The good thing about your benefit statement is that it could also act as your opening.
Yeah.
All right. But what's better is, well, not screaming like a Willie G, but if you had a big statistic, all right, let's say 79% of African diaspora women feel displaced when they're in London. 49% of vulnerable adults feel a lack of inclusion in their community. You know, if you present a really big statistic like that, straight away, people will think, okay, that's probably quite shocking. That's a really big challenge there. That's a lot of people who are feeling this problem. Okay?
Even if the sample size is small,
What is that?
even if the sample size is small.
You can artificially manipulate, you know. So if you said 49% of people, or 10 people, you know, it's still 49%. So yeah, which is why I'm talking percentages. But I think even if the sample size is small, they can start to think, okay, well, hold on a minute. They've already done research on 100 people, 50 people, but that could be representative of the whole of that rate of the. Okay. So yeah, 40 percentages. Another path opening. Ask a question. How many of you during lockdown felt that you lack creativity? Put your hands up. You know? Sorry, that wasn't actually a question to you, but that was a question you could ask, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because what you want, again, you want to grab attention. You know? You want to make sure that the audience is sat up and listening to you. And look, Big Willie G screamed at the start of his presentation. I wouldn't advise you to do that, but I have done some stupid things at the start of pitches that I've done. I was in Google Campus with 150 people pitching, and I went up and turned the lights off. And everyone spent like 5 seconds like running around, and I played music. And straight away, I had their attention. You know? Now, here's the thing. It's about doing things that are relevant to you. I remember once I pitched with someone and he was pitching a design service business and he turned up in a massive chicken suit. Now, it made sure that people, he had eyeballs on him, but it made no sense whatsoever. You know, at least as an audio business, turning the lights off to demonstrate the power of audio made sense. Slide. So if you're going to do stunts, make sure that they're relevant stunts. So once you've got your powerful opening, then it's about the problem you face. Well, that is the problem you're solving, sorry. Okay? That's when you drill into your kind of 3 problem statements as you mentioned earlier. But then also, how severe is this problem for the people that feel it? You know? And how can you demonstrate it's severe? So for example, if it's a lack of quality, healthy vitamins that make people excited, what are they doing instead of buying your vitamins? Maybe it's vitamins that are too expensive that they're buying currently. Does that mean your vitamins are cheaper, therefore more accessible? So really construct the problem to make sure that people feel it. Does that make sense, Michelle, from your example?
Yeah.
Cool. And then also as well, how many people are feeling this pain right now? Right? How many vulnerable adults came out of the pandemic? How many people in the London diaspora? You know? How many neurodivergent women are there who are feeling this problem keenly? So then we go on to what we do and how we do it, right? Our solution. And the challenge here is that this is where us as entrepreneurs love to wax lyrical. We love to talk about what we're doing and how great it is and the technical features and. Honestly, no one really wants to hear that, right? So this part is challenging and it goes against everything that you probably know, but it's best to be brief. Yeah. Right? So I create vitamins for this kind of audience to help them feel healthy and excited. And then a really good follow-up point could be, this is Laura, this is her testimonial. You know, what they probably do not need to know at this point are all the specific ingredients of these vitamins and all the compliance that they've gone through to make sure you can sell them in America and Jamaica and US and UK and Australia, etc. They need to know that. They need to know what the product is in its briefest form and its benefit. And then, more importantly, who is this product for? This is when we come back to our audience, right? And being really specific on what that audience looks like, you know? As specific as you can be, I would suggest it's going to be best for you. But then, when you are being specific, you also want to show that there's a lot of these people out there. Okay? That's when we talk about our market size. And I'm sure Obed talked about your target addressable market and your with Tammy and Sam, target addressable and a serviceable addressable. Okay. So I won't go into too much detail. Basically, what people want to know is who you help specifically, how many people that are like who you can help are available to you immediately, and then in like 2-3 years, once you've grown, how many people like who you can help are available maybe nationally or if not globally. Okay. So I'll tell you a very, very quick story. I'm conscious it's 8:05, right? So I remember about 7-8 years ago, I met one of the early product managers for Unilever. Okay, Unilever, they basically own a lot of brands. One of the brands that they own is Lynx. Anyone know Lynx?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. And I remember he told me, look, he was one of the people that actually started the brand, right? And he said, look, when we started it, we had a profile on a whiteboard of who we wanted to try and sell Lynx to, right? Because ultimately, Lynx at the time was just the scent, all right? It was just the stereotype of the scent, no brand at all. And they had an idea of a person called Tom. Tom was 18, he was white, he went to university, he just moved to university, away from home for the first time. He was living away from home for the first time. He ate pot noodles and toast on a regular. He went back home every month so his mum and dad could do his washing. They were that detailed as to who Tom was and what Tom looked like. All right? But ultimately, not only did they know his problems, his pains in life, broadly speaking, they were also able to communicate what Tom wanted. Right? And ultimately, Tom wanted a girlfriend. He wanted to run out and get a girl. Okay? And if you look at the early Lynx adverts, you may remember it was like you spray this Lynx on you and then the whole little girl would just flock onto you. Do you remember those adverts?
Yeah.
Yeah? So that was how they marketed Lynx. It wasn't just a scent that smelled good. It was an experience that attracted girls to Tom. And here's the thing. Because they made Tom so specific, there were a lot of people that could see Tom in themselves. All right? There are a lot of young boys, young men who were 18 going to university who wanted to be like Tom, who wanted that experience like Tom. And that's how Lynx were able to create this brand that really stood out in the marketplace. So from your perspective, who is your Tom? You know? What are they doing in life? What is the problem? I think you've articulated that well, but what also do they want? Okay? And that comes into your pain and gain and who you do it for. Because then we talk about, okay, look, there are, 10,000 Toms here in London, but actually there's 14 million toms across the Western world. And if you, Mr. Investor, help us access those 10,000 toms, we can then gain momentum and start access those 14 million. That's kind of the story you want to tell them. All right. So, credibility, we talked about this. Who are you? What you've achieved? Who's in your team? Why are you the best person to do what you're doing? You know, that's where you kind of showcase your passion, your commitment, your true, authentic stories as well. I'm doing this because I have felt this pain myself. You know? And then also you've got your close, your ask. All right. This is also really important. I know Obed covered this offside, but you also want to tell them what they can do to help you. And be brazen about it. You know, I need one customer who looks like X to help me do this. I need you to go onto my website and listen to my music and tell me what you think. I need 150 quid from all of you to help me do a production month. Whatever that ask is, ask it. You know, be brazen about it. Because that's why they're in the room, they're captain. You know? So be brazen about it, be confident about it. Pardon, sorry? I've skipped a lot of this, to be fair, but that's a really good point. So I haven't, but hopefully what you achieve should be quite self-explanatory to talk about. Yeah? Okay, in fact, there's one thing I do want to touch on with that specifically. So, as I said earlier, if people want to help you, they want to see that you can help yourself first. Okay? They won't help you until you show them that you can help yourself. So if you can say to someone, look, I might not be selling yet, but I've already got an Instagram site that has 3,000 followers, that is some kind of proof that what you were doing, A, has an audience, and B, you are a credible entrepreneur. All right? If you say, look, I've made money, I've made 100 quid over the last 6 months doing this, again, you have proven that you can get customers. You are de-risking yourself to others that may want to help you. You know, so whatever you have done to achieve something, in fact, you've got one big achievement, all of you in common. You have gotten onto a hard to get onto accelerator provided by a leading national accelerator, Business Launchpad. All right? That is an achievement in itself. They filtered through a number of applications and said, you guys here are the best of the best, so we're going to provide our support to help you. Tell me that's true, Giovanni. So you all have that achievement in common, right?
In terms of the achievements, can you just choose bullet points?
Yeah, that's fine. Bullet points or even pictures as well. You know. Again, the reason why I didn't want to mention it too much is because you don't need to spend too much time on this. You know, one slide or put in a picture, people will see that, okay, this isn't just an idea, this thing has momentum already. And all they're doing is put a fuel on the fire. Understand? And yeah, the close. So look, I didn't want to go over what you've already gone through too much, but I think key for this session has to be the elevator pitch. You know, all of you need to think through whether you want to be on stage on Tuesday or not, because as far as I'm aware, you have that decision to make. Now, if you are on stage, the return that you can get would be almost exponentially more than if you're trying to work in the room. Because if you're on stage, everybody's going to hear your message. And if everybody hears your message, anybody can help you.
Are they going to be judges, who panels?
You are asking the wrong person, but I'm going to try and tell you what I know. So there was a judge for panel. I don't know how many, I think it's 3, but I'm not 100% certain. I don't know who the judges are, but I also know that they are basically judging you on specific aspects of your pitch, your deck, but broadly speaking, how viable it is how viable is your business, basically.
Okay.
All right. I think Giovanni Obed is going to provide a bit more criteria, or has done already.
Yeah, I believe were you guys in the session with Obed last week?
Yeah, but I think you mentioned.
If I were you, I would definitely reach out to him or Indigo and say, look, who's going to be there? I would ask for names of the judges, because then I would actually do my research on LinkedIn and say, hi, can't wait to meet you on Tuesday. Because then you're putting yourself front of mind in their head. You know?
I was on the session last week, but I was on the coach. I was coming back from Bristol on a coach, so I didn't like get much.
That's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
as Giovanni said, he might not have said that, you know, but either way,
I saw what they were doing. They were like doing like a PowerPoint like presentation.
Yeah, presentation.
yeah. So yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right, because he actually shared it with me. So
He did
basically,
actually
he helped you go understand exactly what your pitch deck needs to look like.
Yeah.
He went through that, didn't he?
He did. Frankie did share. Oh yeah, she did.
Yeah, she shared it with me.
Yeah, I've got it.
You know, there was a mention that some people are presenting on the stage and then some people aren't. Do we know who's on the list to present?
We do not. But that's something that you need to work out yourselves.
Oh, so we volunteer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'd say let me know. If you let me know,
But I want to.
yeah, which type of, or you just want a network pitch.
What does the network pitch mean?
that's basically networking around the room.
Honestly, I'd rather not.
So just let me know. Just send me an email. I'll send something out tomorrow. I'll put something out so it's a bit more clearer, and then I'll get you guys this decision by.
Submit our pictures.
Yeah, you need to submit. Yeah, I'd say submit it to me by like Friday, or I'd say if not, then by Monday at the latest.
No,
You know what? I reckon. Let me help you here, Giovanni. I reckon all of you should decide by tonight whether you want to pick on stage or not, and then submit your pitch decks by Friday. Because ultimately, all of you need to understand the benefit of pitching on stage, A, but also B, whether you feel comfortable pitching on stage.
I'd prefer to pitch on the stage to avoid having to repeat myself 5 minutes around the room.
That's the worst attitude. Because even if you pitch on stage, you're going to be like,
to network, but we network from a place of understanding what's happening.
Perfect.
To start again.
yeah.
You guys want to do a picture? Okay, on stage.
Pitching on the stage when the
You can work it. I believe you. What you would be like a scribe? Would you be like a spokesperson, basically? Okay, yeah,
If you're not
work.
pitching on the stage,
So you'll be there as
yes,
obviously as support. Yeah, that's
honestly, guys, first it's like,
yeah, and then she can be there with you, and then obviously you can just help her explain. If she wants to also like chime in on obviously what you're saying, yeah.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a really good question. I don't know. But from what Indigo mentioned to me briefly, they've got a big network of possible funders, different organisations.
I don't think you could actually raise money, because that was my issue.
I think there is money. I think
This is just pitching for personal practice, in which case, yeah, of course I'll still do it.
well, the thing is, yeah, I mean, okay, look, even if there is not money to be won,
It's still good for personal development and working as an entrepreneur.
100%.
See, I'm not typical, but money's always better.
True.
So it's a good incentive.
It's the best incentive.
I do have a serious question then.
Good.
So let's say, well, I'll answer myself, but I think there may be a few other information. If your business is in its most, what's it called, early stages, when I say early, I literally mean it's still, maybe it's IB, and if it was in the womb, it's just about starting to develop some things, right? When it comes to pitching, when you're in essence pitching an idea rather than a product or a service, are there ways that we should shift the pitch, maybe from like the pitch further, where there are certain things that fundamentally you won't have, like the credibility, maybe the person, the CEO, or you haven't achieved anything yet because it's just vibes.
and an idea, and now you're moving into like the building, and so you're asking people to believe in you as well.
Yeah.
Does the structure of your pitch shift in any way, or are there judging things like that?
So that's a really good point. You think by the time, right? There are, it's in theory and but also in Ireland, especially in the US, there are people that think kind of back in businesses, and based on that person's credibility, or based on that person's insight, or based on that person's technical confidence or technical capabilities, they are able to raise money and gain resources to support that idea. Right? So the question becomes, how can you put together a pitch that compels someone with nothing to take some form of persuasive action? And that then comes down to, okay, well, how worldwide is the problem? How severe is this problem? Like, a good test of how severe a problem is if people are faced with a problem right now and they're spending money to overcome that problem, and how much money is being lost based on how much they're spending to overcome that problem. Does that make sense? So if you can really kind of crystallize what that problem looks like, and then you can be really specific as to the people who are currently being afflicted by that problem, and then you can start to talk through what the solution does or will do. I say will do, does in the present tense, then straight away you're credible. And as I said, you all have something about you which makes you credible people. All right. And if you can use that authenticity and use that authenticity as well to demonstrate your insight, that again helps you become credible. That again helps people be persuaded by you. Does that help you answer the question?
Yeah.
And this structure still applies, so not but you know, the pitch program structure still applies, you know, because that basically is just a structure for how to create a story that enables people to be persuaded by you.
Now, how much do we offer?
Pardon, sorry?
How much is on offer?
That's a brass tacks, right? I don't actually know. Giovanni, is
So-
there money on offer? I don't think there is there.
I'm not too sure if money was on offer. We are looking at incentives, but like yeah, we are.
No. Now I've already spoken to go briefly, and we have a kind of shared network, and there's people that she's inviting, like for example, there's someone from a fund that invests into social innovation who might be there. You know?
Yeah.
So you do not know who's in that room. So if you are still on stage talking with clarity and persuasiveness and positivity about your business, you do not know who that may move. So yeah, don't on stage. Cool guys, well look, that's it from me. We talked about the areas of being entrepreneurial that we're touching on, and if you have any feedback, I read it all. I read your last lot, I appreciated it. So yeah, if we need some feedback, tell me to stop yapping so much and stop telling the personal stories about my failures, then I'm happy to take them.
Every session, speakers have this feedback. Who does it go to?
This goes to me. Yeah. It's like Google Forums and Google Spreadsheet and me reading it. You know. But I can't speak for everyone. Was that helpful, everyone?
Yep, very.
Yeah. I'm very conscious that we are like 25 minutes over. Thank you for your time, your questions, your engagement, broadly speaking. If I cannot do on Tuesday, I wish you all the best. In fact, no, I don't wish you anything. I know you will all smash it, you know, because you'll, from our last session, you'll plan, you'll prepare, you'll make yourself in a confident state, and then you'll come deliver. Sorry, Diana.
Is it, you don't have to use all the slide templates?
You don't, but you probably should. If you are going to pitch on stage, you definitely should.
But isn't it more than 3 minutes, those slides? They're like
Here's
8
another thing.
of them, 9.
Yeah, that's a good point. So this, okay, people when they are coming to this session, this pitch workshop, or this pitch day, they're not coming to read a bunch of slides.
No.
Because if they were, Indigo would have sent them the PDFs, you know? They're coming to hear you,
Right.
hear your voice and hear you tell them about why they should be involved in your business. Now, the best way for you to do that is by being confident about what you do, knowing your stuff and delivering it. And what may help you do that is some slides, you know? So in that context, the slides can be as short as long or as long as needed. But at the same time, you have 3 minutes. And again, what I would suggest to all of you, in fact, is that you basically have 1 slide per point. So going back to, I'm sure everyone talked about this, 1 slide per pitch worker, per element pitch worker. So 1 slide which gives you power for opening, 1 slide on your pain games, 1 slide on what we do. And in fact, he's got that, hasn't he? You know?
To cut down.
And even more important, I even say you have literally 1 key takeaway per slide. Problem, 1 problem. Who we help, 1 audience profile. Your solution, 1 image, you know? Because ultimately, here's the challenge. If you have a whole heap of text on your slides, like I do, people are going to read your slides as opposed to listen to you. And if they're reading, they're not being persuaded by you. You know, they're not being convinced by you, they're being distracted by your slides. So the more that you can create and design your slides to be supportive of what you're saying, the better. As you can tell, I'm not a very good slide designer at all because I put a whole heap of text on my slides, you know. But honestly, the less text, the better.
There was a question from Aisha in the chat,
Cool.
and she asked, how can I know what the overall benefit of my business is if I serve multiple types of people?
Focus on what? Is her business trading? If it is, focus on her highest profitable, her most profitable customer. Focus on the reason why they purchase. And if her business is not trading, then what is the expected benefit of her product to the specific customer that she thinks will get most value out of it? So again, as we said, just focus, focus, focus. Hopefully that helped. Any other questions? Any other queries, any concerns?
Question. Since, so initially I had like problems and then another slide for solutions. Should I remove the solutions and just like stick to the benefit statements instead, or?
I would suggest you keep the solution slide,
Okay.
but make the solution slide quite brief. And then that's a really good point for your benefit statement if you have a different opening. All right. Because what you also want to do is very briefly talk about how you do what you do. All right. So it's a card game that promotes social inclusion for African diaspora. We ask really compelling questions that promote connectivity.
Okay.
That's it. As an example.
I got another question. Would you recommend us having like a customer persona? Because I know I'm aware that we only have 3 minutes to go through everything, so I think having a customer persona is going to take us quite a bit of time.
Well, what do you mean when you say customer persona? Because I think that's absolutely necessary.
Like having a slide like with insights on who our target audience is.
Okay. I think with insights probably not necessary. Although if you want to cherry pick maybe 2 or 3 and have them next to a picture of your customer, potential customer, that's a really good shout. But what you want to say, what you want to show, is basically. There we go. We help people called Tom, or we help Toms. You know,
Okay.
this is what Tom looks like, and there are 100,000 Toms across the country, and even millions more elsewhere. But we want to start by helping the Toms in London. You know, so it gives like an overarching view of who your customer is, where you can find them, and how big the market is for Toms, as an example.
Okay. So we don't really have to focus on like psychographics, hobbies, and.
I mean, as I said, I'd choose 2 or 3. You know, we know that the Toms that we can provide most value to, they are 18. They, as a game, they want to have relationships, and therefore we can help them because they have this problem, and there's X amount of them here in London, etc. So you want to create a story about them, but weave into that story the problem that your customer profile has, and also as well the market size of them. So the kind of total addressable and serviceable addressable, basically. Okay.
So my business startups and content creators, arguably those two groups are technically different. But do you think it would be an incorrect approach to merge those groups together as entrepreneurs? Because that's something that is in some way.
Yeah.
Their brand is their business. They engage in the same content.
100%. Well, I think what you'll find is that a lot of startup entrepreneurs, they are becoming content creators by creating a personal brand for themselves and posting on LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. about their daily life being an entrepreneur. So they are one of the same things. But within that, because you've now merged two different categories together, you want to kind of be laser focused on who in that middle. If you give us a Venn diagram, entrepreneurs, content creators, what's the sweet spot maybe?
Do you think I should have the sweet spot, or do you think I should just choose one category?
Have the sweet spot.